Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Power of the Tribe. I'm Maureen Ryan Blake. And in this section of the summit, we are going to be discussing a leading principle behind the power of the tribe, leading from generosity. And our next guest is someone that is a sought after business coach, esteemed and best-selling writer in the Rockstar customer service and Rockstar customer service, and just an overall great guy. So I'd like to introduce David Brownlee, and I'm so glad he's with us today. David, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Good. So David, I read the intro to your book, and there's a lot going on there. So tell us how you got here as now being a sought after business coach and the leader in customer service.
Yeah, well, it's been this crazy journey that I didn't even really know where it was going to end up. So for myself, I've been a serial entrepreneur. I've started businesses and sold businesses, small businesses, and really wanted to give back to entrepreneurs and to charities and different things. And that kind of been my life living in LA. And in 2005, I sold my company and went down to Central America with my wife. And we were doing kind of like a midlife sabbatical, figuring out what the next move was going to be. And it was beautiful. I learned my 3 S's, Maureen. I learned how to surf, I learned salsa, and I learned Spanish. 3 things I never even thought I'd have in my life. And it was great. And what we were trying to do was really build something down there. And we started a day spa, the Luna Bella Day Spa, which was, we put it in one of the hotels down there. I started doing some real estate deals, some land deals and things. And it was a lot of fun. But then 2008 hit, and this really changed the direction of my life, or in the direction it was headed, really emphasized what was important to me. And what ended up happening was we went to sushi one night. We were in the main city of Nicaragua. If you can imagine this, it's like New York City in Central America. It was in Nicaragua. It's called Managua. And we went out to this beautiful sushi restaurant. We're out there with clients. And I figured maybe we'll have some sake, so we'll take a cab. And we took a cab over there, had a great dinner. We're getting ready to leave. And we're just trying to get back to our hotel. And I saw a cab out in front. So instead of having the hostess call us a cab, I said, let's just jump in this cab. So we jumped in, and he starts driving. And all of a sudden he says, I got to pull over. Tengo que orinar. Basically, I've got to use the bathroom. And we're in the middle of like a field. We're only 5 minutes from the hotel. But he pulls over, he jumps out, and comes back in. And we start driving towards the hotel. And he's got, Eye of the Tiger playing, the windows down, we're rocking along, and all of a sudden he pulls over and somebody gets in the front seat. Now it sounds a little strange, but it's like an Uber rideshare, right? And so they call it a cooperativo. So somebody jumped in the car and was just going to share the cab. And we said, okay, no problem. So we're driving along. Then he pulls over again about a minute later, and somebody gets in the back seat. And have you ever had that sinking feeling that something's gone wrong? Yeah, this was that moment. And all of a sudden, the guy in the front seat, he turned around, he pulled out a gun, put it in my face and said, La plata, la plata, la plata. Give me your money. And so I knew he couldn't shoot me, so I grabbed the gun this way. I'm sitting in the back seat. So if you can imagine, I'm in the back seat behind the driver. My wife is next to me, and there's some guy next to my wife. Now, the guy in the front seat, in the passenger seat, is the guy who had the gun. But the guy sitting next to my wife was his partner. And he pulls out a knife, he draws back, and he shoves it into my leg, pulls it out, blood spurting everywhere. And in that moment, I knew I had to take something that was heated and violent and turn it around into something peaceful and calm. And everything I'd learned, as funny as it may sound, in sales and customer service and working with people and communication, all these things, I had to become a leader in that moment to get us out of that. And once we got out, and we could talk about the rest of the story as well, but I really started to think about life is so important and life is so short. And how can I dedicate even more of what I'm doing now to helping others? And that's when I sought out Tony Robbins and became a business coach for Tony. and helping small businesses to large corporations, and customer service is something that has always been really important to me. And so that's how I got into it. And that's my why that pushes me to do what I do.
It's a crazy story.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a crazy story. There's more details online about the story as well, as you probably know.
Yes, and it's in the book, so you have to read the book. The book is not only so informative and instructional, but it's really well written and really interesting and a great narrative as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So being that, and you're like so right, like on point of where, as far as business coaching and where businesses need to be in the shift to a thank you economy, customer service is everything.
Absolutely. And, when the concept of the book is, if you think of your favorite rock star. So Maureen, you want to play a little game?
Here we go.
Okay. Think of your favorite rock star or your favorite entertainer or athlete, your favorite celebrity. Imagine that person.
Okay.
Who is it?
At this moment, let's see. Well, I'm going to roll into this because it's going to be a leading question, but I would say Mick Jagger.
Love it. Mick Jagger's great. So let's say Mick Jagger comes to you and he calls you on the phone, or better yet, he even comes into your office and says, I want to hire you and your product and your service. So what are you going to do for him?
Everything.
Everything. What are you going to say to him? How are you going to treat him, right? You're going to treat him like a rock star because you want him to tell all of his famous friends all about you, right?
Right.
So the question I ask my clients is, I say, when was the last time you treated your clients like a rock star? And they start thinking, they go, oh my gosh. And it's like, it's that instant moment. What more can we do to treat our customers like rock stars? Because if you treat your customers like, they're royalty and you don't ever want them to leave, then they won't, right? They'll come back. But so many times, especially with pressures and everything that happens in our businesses, we get caught up, right? And we're just trying to deliver, and then we're on to the next. Try to deliver, we're on to the next, right? And so the book is really about how you can take those customers and nurture them so that they'll buy from you over and over again. Because the statistics are crazy, right? $75 billion a year are going out the back door from companies because they come in, they get poor customer service, and they just go away, and they never come back. Right? And it's 6 to 7 times more expensive to attract a new client than it is to keep one that you already have. So really it becomes not only customer service, but customer success, where you can actually start growing your business, increase your revenues. And that's why I called it Rockstar Service, Rockstar Profits, because we're all in business to make an impact and make a profit. Right? So this is a very easy way that's often overlooked of how you can increase your revenues and increase your profits.
So with the book, okay, I have a question for you then, because it's a little bit of a lead-in.
Yes.
So you had mentioned in the book, you had said, so supposing that Paul McCartney or Mick Jagger came into your store, and this was what you were giving as the intro to Rockstar Service and Rockstar Profits.
Yes.
I have a question for you. Which is it? Are you a Stones fan or Beatles fan?
I'm more of a Stones fan. The Beatles fans, their heads are exploding right now, right? But I'm a Stones fan. I got to see these guys in Anaheim, and they were in a huge stadium, and it was one of the biggest stages I've ever seen. I mean, it had to have been a half mile long, and Mick Jagger's out there. He's running to the end of the stage. It was one of those stages that comes into the audience. And he's singing and he's moving back and forth. I mean, it's awesome. And I love the music. I used to play in a band in college, and we did a lot of classic rock songs like from Hendrix, and we did a little bit of Beatles, but the Stones songs were always the most fun to do for me.
You're either one or the other. I mean, you like the Beatles, but if you're a Stones fan, you're a Stones fan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would put my money on. I would have put my money that you were a Stones fan. So I'm a Stones fan too. All right, good then.
Very nice.
So with this, okay. So now, being here, right? What advice would you give to listeners who coming from a place of generosity? Because that's in everything that you're saying, and you being here today is an example of that. And thank you for that. what would you be, if they're afraid of being taken advantage of or stepping into their leadership, what advice would you give them to start living in from a place of generosity and leading from a place of generosity?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's, you nailed it. I think that's the biggest fear that we have as humans, as business owners, that if we're too generous, people are going to take advantage of us, right? And what we find is that when you are generous, and I'll give a couple examples as well. When you are generous, there will be people who take advantage of you. That's the way of the world, right? Because, but by the way, those same people will take advantage of you even if you're not generous, because that's who those people are. But it's such a small percentage. But what ends up happening is, as you're generous, you get more people coming in, you get more customers, a lot more customers than you would get if you weren't being generous. Okay. And then the people who take advantage of it is such a small percentage, but by being generous, you get such a bigger pool. And I'll give you an example. One of my favorite examples, I was speaking at an event in Las Vegas, and it turned out that the owner of a company called Zappos.com. Are you familiar
Okay.
with Zappos?
Yeah. They're the shoe people, right?
The shoe people, right?
Okay.
Tony Hsieh is the president. He was, and the founder, he was speaking at the same event. And they're based out of Las Vegas. So I got to go tour their facilities. And I went to the customer service floor, and it's absolutely unbelievable because they're answering the phone. They're doing all their metrics, right? They're answering the phones. They're being friendly. They're being polite. But there's so many stories of just amazing things. And they have this one lady who walks around. Her name is Mama. And you want to talk about generosity. That's her only job, is to be generous. So here's what happened. Somebody called to get shoes or whatever and was just having a conversation with the service rep, customer service rep, and said that their dog had died. And, they were all upset about it. And Mama heard what happened. So she went over there. She gave them their purchase for free, the shoes for free, paid for shipping and everything, and authorized that customer service rep to write a handwritten note, a handwritten card, a bereavement card for the dog, sent it to him, and sent it to him with flowers, and paid for the flowers and the shipping for the flowers. That's generosity. Do you think that person is going to go tell everybody they can about how great Zappos is? Absolutely. Right. So what's so great about that is now you're building a business, which actually was sold to Amazon. Over $1 billion. I can't remember the number off the top of my head right now, but imagine building $1 billion company off of generosity. And there's a lot more stories that go the same way. So, but from a business standpoint, you might say, well, how do they pay for something like that? Well, you've never seen a Super Bowl ad from Zappos, right? So what they do is they take a piece of their marketing budget and put it into programs like this, and created that wow experience for their customers. And there's hundreds, probably thousands of stories just like that. So it's really a great way to demonstrate that being generous will get you more business. And by the way, being generous, does it feel good to you, Maureen, when you're generous to others?
No, I was about to say, it sounds like it's actually a more fun approach to life anyway.
Yes, it's a more fun approach. So it makes the time at work or while you're working that much more enjoyable, right? For your customer and for yourself.
So in your book, you had said in your mission that you want to help 100 million companies.
Yes.
That was about the figure. So where are you at that point?
Yeah. So for me, it was funny when I started this journey. I was a small business owner. I said, I'm going to give some advice on sales, customer service, marketing, and leadership for small business owners like myself, maybe to help them get ahead. And what ended up happening was these videos went viral. And so, there's over 1 million views and stuff. And when I started thinking about it, I was like, oh my gosh, this little idea has helped over 1 million businesses and individuals from around the world. Just about any country you can think of. And so what it did was it opened my eyes to, hey, in the world that we live in today, I can actually create something that has an impact and has what I call the ripple effect. So if I know that, hey, there's 1 million people who've taken my training and they're more generous to other people, right? So for example, somebody takes my training, they're more generous to their employees, right? If the boss takes it, right? They're more generous to their employees. And then what happens is they feel good, they go home, and then they treat their spouse better. And their spouse feels good, and so they treat their children better, right? And there's this ripple effect that goes on and on and on of generosity and treating each other with kindness and respect, because the world could use a little more kindness and respect now, couldn't it?
I was just about to say that. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So for me, I was like, gosh, 1 million. Wow. Well, we got there. Why not 100 million? And it's the weird thing, once you put it out there, hey, I want to reach 100 million people. I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't know how it happens. I've got the book out now, which is doing fantastic, and there's just all these different opportunities that keep coming up, but you put it out there, right? In business, right? You put it out there, you hold yourself to that standard, and you do everything you can every day to get there.
So who do you turn to for your inspiration and leadership? Now, you'd mentioned you started out with Tony Robbins.
Yes.
I
started out with Tony Robbins. In a very short time, I did over 3,500 one-on-one coaching calls. And what was great about that is, my direct report boss was an ex-Navy SEAL. So if you can imagine the workload and the standards and the impact that we were trying to have, it was unbelievable. It was one of the greatest things and one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. So what was important about that was the skills that I learned and the patterns that I've seen. I've seen everything from the housewife to the CEO of the, $100 million companies, right? So all those problems, all those challenges, all those wins and celebrations are all the same across the board, because we're all human. And there's only so many patterns that you see. And so what it did was it allowed me to put into my training, into my book, some things that actually work to get people results, right? And so a lot of my inspiration comes from Tony, and I still listen to him whenever I get the chance. If I'm ever in the car or on a plane or something like that, I like to listen to inspiration. And Tony Robbins is still one of the best for me. Les Brown as well, if you're familiar with Les Brown, very motivational. He's a motivational speaker. And I put in some Les Brown and listen to him. He's really good.
So you're constantly learning.
Yes, constantly learning. I'm teaching and I'm also learning. And I love it. And I love doing research and, about the brain science, why we do what we do, how the brain works and why we do what we do. That's one of my passions. So now I'm getting I've always incorporated into my leadership training personality types. Have you ever taken any of those personality tests?
Yes, Briggs-Myers and things like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And I have one from Intermetrics. It's called DISC and Values. So the DISC tells you how you like to behave, for example, right? What's comfortable for you? What's your adaptive behavior when you feel like someone's watching you, or you have to, if you're in a work environment where you have to be a certain way, and then the motivation side, like what motivates you? If you're going to try to motivate yourself or motivate others that have a similar profile to you, how do you do that? So that's been very intriguing to me, and it's been a lot of fun to be able to incorporate that into my training as well. So that's very inspiring for me. I'm always learning and always pushing myself to get better and better every day.
Lifelong learning.
Yes, lifelong learning for sure.
So, so you're obviously in the leadership and motivational and inspiring realm.
Yes.
And when you're in there, there's always certain songs that come up that are supposed to be confidence booster. Now, one of those songs is often The Eye of the Tiger. How does that song make you feel now that it has such a obviously different tone to you than other people?
What a great question, Mari, by the way. Nobody's ever asked me that before, but my wife and I often talk about it. There's, because it does come up and it's motivational and stuff. And we look at each other, and I think in the beginning it was kind of hard to hear. It was hard to listen to. But we just listened to it. Maybe it was 3 or 4 days ago, the song came up, and now it doesn't have the same charge that it used to, especially since, you look at something that happened to us, right? And from my perspective, I could look at it as, hey, it was one of the worst things that ever happened to me, or I could look at it as a gift. And that's how I choose to look at it, because without that, happening, you and I wouldn't be here together. The book, Rockstar Service, Rockstar Profits, wouldn't be here. Right. And so it was, in a lot of ways, it was a gift. It got me into coaching, into doing keynotes, and being able to spread something positive in the world from something that happened so negative. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. And that's also a way of looking at life.
Yes.
And a perspective.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, and so then were you and your wife at the time, and because were you married yet, or you were getting, obviously you're married and have been and happily married. Were you guys married, and this just, did it also intensify your relationship, that experience?
Absolutely. Actually, when we were in the car, if you go back a year before that, it hadn't even been a year since we'd been married. And, when I proposed to my wife, I proposed to her in Italy, and my dad and I had planned to go to Italy together. And this was probably 2004, I want to say. And we had the trip planned, everything was good. And he got sick, and he ended up having cancer, and we couldn't go on the trip. And then a year later, he passed away, and we never made it there together. And then after he had passed is when I met Luna, maybe about a few months later. And when I proposed to her in Italy. And she said, we were in Venice, and she said, okay, you know what? I want to go to the Bridge of Sighs. It's this bridge that over one of the canals. And she says, I want to go there, and I want to reflect on your dad, and I want to connect. And I said, okay, that's a great idea. So we went to go to have dinner that night. And right outside where we had dinner, there was somebody playing guitar out on the corner, a street performer. And he was playing my dad's favorite song called Shadow of Your Smile. And we're like, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. And we're sitting there, and we're talking to him. And I had just proposed to my wife, and she said yes, which was great. We were on a gondola, and, I gave her the ring. So she had just newly had the ring. And I asked the street performer, I said, do you know where the Bridge of Sighs is? And he said, yeah, you're standing on it. And we were there, and we didn't even know. So we had this whole moment about my dad. And so back when we were in that cab and everything's chaotic and everything was crazy, we had just been married. My wife had her wedding ring on, and she took it off and she sat on it so that the guys who were robbing us couldn't see it. They never even knew it existed. But we knew that that was our protector in that moment. And so it was a really powerful thing for us, to be able to have that. And, it just when I look back on it, that was that protector in that story.
It's a beautiful story. And I'm glad you guys have what you have together, and that this is something that's absolutely binding you, and you both have risen to even better place from it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's really,
12 years in marriage now.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, okay. So now it's your second book that's out. Is that correct?
Yeah, the first book is called Rockstar Customer Service,
Right.
6 Steps to Rockstar Customer Service. So it's a little bit different, but still the same concepts, but it gives you 6 steps. And Rockstar Service, Rockstar Profits gives you 8 steps. and it dives much deeper than the first book.
Okay. So what's next? What's 2020 looking like for you? What's in the, on the plate? What's next for David?
Yeah, so it's very cool. I've a lot more keynotes will be coming up. My kids are getting older. They kind of understand when daddy's on the road, doing FaceTime dad, and so I just booked with an agency So I'll be doing a lot more keynotes. So any of your listeners, if you're looking for a speaker for a keynote, I'm not your average keynote, as you can probably tell. It's a lot of fun. Lots of consulting with some of the bigger companies. We just did our first strategy session for an international surf brand, surf logo brand, and they do surf, they do skate, they do action sports. So we've got a program we're going to be working on them for the year. And got some other exciting things. And me personally, because of my time, I hadn't been doing a lot of one-on-one coaching. And I miss that. So I've put onto my schedule a couple slots for some business owners right now and some executives that I'm coaching one-on-one, and I've really been enjoying that, really loving that. So it's been a lot of fun.
So it goes back to that tangible leading from generosity.
Yes.
Everything about that, even to have that one-on-one and make sure that that's a constant in everything you do.
Yeah, because there's no better feeling for me than to help somebody on their journey, whether it's a big corporation or whether it's a small business owner or whether it's an entrepreneur, to watch them grow. And when we start coaching here and then they end up here, there's no better feeling. And it's reinforcement to me that the things that I've learned, the research that I've done, and the concepts, the ideas, the practical step-by-step proven strategies, they actually work. And they actually get people, an ROI. They get them to their goals. And there's no better feeling than to be a part of that journey with these organizations and these individuals. It's life-changing. I'll never be the same because of it.
And obviously the world is being impacted. Okay, so you're having many entrepreneurs are they're wearing all the hats, right? And it's one of the reasons with the Power of the Tribe is that we serve female entrepreneurs, because let's face it, we just don't always get to be out there, and we wind up losing our tribe. So if you're going to say one thing for a beginning entrepreneur on their journey, and they could implement one thing, what would that be to helping improve their customer service and treating people like rock stars?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say always think about your customer first, right? Because it's very easy to get caught up in, oh, I've got to pay, the rent, right? If you're renting a spot, or, oh, I've got to pay for product, or, oh, I've got to got to get more clients. Oh, I've got to get this marketing convert, like all these things, that the pressures that we have as entrepreneurs. And in those moments, I suggest getting quiet, thinking about your customer. What is it that your customer is struggling with right now? Because your business is providing some sort of service, some sort of solution to that person's challenge. So whenever I go on stage, people ask me, are you nervous when you go on stage and do those things? I go, no, not at all. Because in those moments, it's not about me. It's about the audience. What does the audience need? And once you take that focus off yourself, all the stress just lifts itself. It's really a cool concept, because in order to be stressed out, you have to be focused on yourself. That's just the way it works. So once you take the focus off yourself, put them on your customers. Now your brain, you're gonna be creative and innovative of, gosh, how can I serve my customer? What are they going through right now? Oh, I could do this, or I could change this, or I could add this bonus, or I could add this service to really help them get there. And that's what's so fun for me. And when you're ready, I've got something special for your tribe as well.
Okay, well, tell us about that.
Okay, so a lot of, we've got this time together, which is great, but I really like to take people on a deeper dive. So I have a free video training series, and you can get it for free at rockstarcustomerservice.com. So rockstarcustomerservice.com. Okay. And if you go there, just put in your name, put in your email, and I will send you some training videos that will help you take generosity and actually get a result. How do you create a never-ending stream of referrals in your business. Referrals are fantastic. You know, people are so excited that they're going to send you business. You know, how do you respectfully ask for a referral? What are the things you have to do before you ask for a referral, so you build that foundation so that when you ask, they say yes? All these different things are so important and they're so overlooked. But like you mentioned earlier, it's fun. Customer experience and customer service, customer success, it can be fun. You know, when you think of sales, a lot of people think like, oh my God, that's not so fun, right? But when you think about treating people with kindness and caring and generosity, those are good feelings. Those feel good. So being able to teach your tribe how to do that is going to be great. And I love what you guys stand for, and women in business. And I think there needs to be more women in business. You know, I know some powerhouse women, yourself included, that are doing great things in business. And I love to see that. And I love to be a part. And anything I can contribute that will help them on that journey is really a blessing for me.
Well, so you started with today for being here, and we really do thank you. So I will have the link to your website for the free download, and as
Okay.
well as there'll be it'll be in the bonus section, so the audience can definitely take advantage of that and take the deeper dives to start getting some of the techniques.
Yes, take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. Reach out to me. I'm very accessible. You know, even if I'm on the road and you have a question or something that you're struggling with, or get stuck on something, I'm here, and I'm here to serve and love to speak with your tribe.
Thank you, David. It was
My
a real
pleasure.
pleasure having you today, and looking forward to seeing more things coming from you. Your energy is just so fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Take care.
All right. Take care.